Well, this project here has been going on for way too long. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to vlog. And finally, the Michael B. Jordan Crash Ferrari 812 Superfast is being resurrected. The frame on this car was bent, it was mangled. Ferrari would not sell me the structural components. They had to make the repairs themselves. In the process, they charged me an absolute fortune to do so. But finally, the car is true and straight. And the resurrection process can officially begin. It's crazy when you think about it. One of the most famous actors in the world crashed this car on a road in California, crashed into a parked Kia Sportage, and now fast forward a year later, an idiot in Utah is trying to repair the car in his home garage. Wish me luck. Now theoretically, the next time the car leaves this garage, it's gonna be under its own power. Theoretically. It's too easy. One hand, not even trying, baby. And we're on ice. Well, this is slightly disconcerting. It says Maserati genuine parts. Now, to my knowledge, I'm unaware of a Maserati Ghibli and a Ferrari 812 Superfast sharing the same components. If they do, that would have been nice to know because I definitely paid the Ferrari tax for these parts. Now the cooling system on the 812 was heavily damaged because of course it sits here on the passenger side. That's where the majority of the impact was when the 812 hit the Kia Sportage. So we have our delivery pipe and our return pipe. Now these are the old pipes that we're replacing. They're not damaged that bad and maybe I could have repaired them, but sometimes the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Brand new ones, they weren't that expensive. You'll see the ends of these are pretty squeezed, especially, doesn't matter, it's going in the trash can. This one especially is pretty squeezed. So, and then of course the coolant expansion tank also took a nice little knock to the side. So we got a brand new one as well. So some of you guys might remember when I first got the 812, it did fire up, but it was leaking coolant everywhere. And part of the reason for that is the coolant tank has holes in it, kind of sort of everywhere. Brand new one. We gotta obviously transfer these lines right here as well. Yeah, cooling system, we're pretty much locked and loaded. Well, the 812 is fully on the bin pack lift. We have ratchet strap number 1 and ratchet strap number 2. Obviously, for precautionary reasons, the engine's out of the car all the way it's on the back half of the car. The last thing we want to have happen is the whole car to tip over. I also got the tripod there for all the just-in-case scenarios. And then, of course, we have the delivery pipe and the return pipe fully installed, brand new from Ferrari. Looking money, money, money. Well, I've been trying to avoid this for the longest time, but we've now reached that moment in the rebuild. We have the wiring harness of death. It is an absolute cobweb. This is gonna be very special. I'm focused here on the passenger side first. If I tried to act like an expert, you guys would know that I'm lying, but effectively, it's like a bunch of little tentacles. You have this tentacle here, this one right here that kind of separates, and then you got this one as well. So we're gonna focus on this one first, then start on this one, and then finish with this one. Well, I'm pretty sure we have finally reached the portion of the video. The mighty V12 is headed back inside the 812 Superfast. Now, we only want to do this one time. So I looked over this engine bay so many times, making sure we have everything lined up into place. We have passenger wiring harness, driver side wiring harness. You might remember the tangled mess, the spider web of wiring harnesses that was dumped in the driver's seat. Well, it's all been routed properly here on the driver's side. You can see windshield washer tank there, a bunch of the other accessory nonsense. Air conditioning line ran through the firewall. You can see all the heat shielding as well. I think we're good to rock and roll. Like I said, we only want to do this one time. The sheer size of this 6.5 liter V12 is wild. It's also pretty funny. The first motor that I've ever uninstalled and attempted to reinstall is a 6.5 liter, 800 horsepower Ferrari V12. I probably should have started with like an inline 4-cylinder. I don't know if that makes me an idiot or if it makes me kind of sort of cool. I'm definitely not cool, but definitely an idiot. It's actually pretty crazy to feel the magnitude and the weight that is the 6.5 liter Ferrari V12 heartbeat. Now, if you remember, we basically dropped the frame onto the motor, kind of, effectively, more or less. Now, somehow, some way, we gotta finagle this V12 motor into the smallest opening known to man. I realize you look, ow, 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 ow. I just hit my head on the garage door, and then I took the camera in the face. We are not off to a very good start right now. I realize from right here, it looks like it's gonna fit easily, but it's all perspective. So somehow, we're gonna have to sort of move this thing around ever so slightly as we drop the frame of the car down. So far, everything's looking pretty good. We might have to bring the motor forward ever so slightly. Stop right there, Soph. Motor's been moved forward ever so slightly. Keep coming, Soph. Just a little bit more. Stop right there. Stop, stop, stop. We're trying to get these engine mount bolts into place, and we are off by like a fraction of a millimeter of a centimeter. That's right, a millimeter of a centimeter. And so we got to kick this whole thing. So I've come in. I have not skipped leg day, and we got to kick it. Ow. Ow. I really don't want to admit how long that just took, but if my calculations are correct, the engine mounts should be in place. We can raise the bin pack and pull the engine jack out, theoretically. If that doesn't happen, that means the motor's good. Yeah, it's gonna work, I'm sure. Oh, I like what I see, baby. Let's go. I just love when the calculations are right. Now I am praying that we do not have to drop the motor back on this engine jack, because those motor mounts, getting like the 7 of them to line up on the front, then there's 6 more on the back, so there's 13 in total. It's next to impossible because every single millimeter has to be perfect. We did it once, if we have to, we'll do it twice. I somehow misspoke and said 13 bolts. It's actually 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Finally seeing the 6.5 liter V12 back inside the engine bay is so rewarding. The clearance on every single angle, this thing barely fits inside. So we got electrical, we got fuel lines, coolant lines, oil lines, and we're trying to get a cold start up here soon. Well, over on this side of the garage, we have all the accessory nonsense, our coolant lines, our oil lines, and this is kind of a representation of how close we're getting to completion. As this shelf gets more empty, we're getting closer to the finish line. This is definitely one of our more critical oil lines. I gotta figure out where this goes. This should be fairly easy. This thing is massive. And of course, last but certainly not the least, we have our dented oil sump. Now I have a new one of these that cost me $2,200. We're gonna use this as our reference point. I think one of the hardest things about this entire project is trying to figure out the order of operations. There's an outside chance I should put this in a long time ago, but we're gonna try to put it in now. And the problem is we gotta snake it up and down and around, kind of sort of like, this is hard to do while filming, but you guys gotta see the footage. I realize this is not gonna work, so as a take 2, we can disconnect this thing so we can actually get it to fit in place properly. Easy, easy, easy. As we get closer and closer to the cold start, the big question mark is, what color do we paint the 812? Obviously I love Lamborghini, well, I love Lamborghini paint colors, that's what I was gonna say. What do you guys think? Should we go bright? Should we keep it the same blue as Ferrari? It's coming together, we're getting there. I've been focusing on the oil lines, but we're gonna start focusing on the coolant lines as well, because once again, order of operations, I think it just kind of makes sense. So I realize this is not maybe the best footage known to man, but I want you guys to know that is me doing it and not somebody from Ferrari Salt Lake City, okay? Always label everything. That's labeled 21. This is also labeled 21, so we know without hesitation that clips in just like that. We got 22 over on this side. Once again, we got 22 over here. So once again, without hesitation, and right in here, we have our brand new oil sump. This thing, I keep saying it costs an absolute fortune because I want to get my money's worth. This thing was $2,200. Brand new from Ferrari. Unfortunately, there was really no other way around this. We basically had to buy this thing because this one got head-butted by IKEA. You can see all the indentations there. We got to transfer everything from that one to this one. Also, it looks like I got 2 Ferrari caps. That's kind of sick. Well, we're only about 2 connections from installing that new oil sump, but we have ran into a small discrepancy of sorts. So you guys remember the coolant line that I ran at the very beginning of the video? That's right here. It should connect to that. But we're about 2.5 inches short I don't know what this pipe is, but it's the wrong size. Now the two lines that I'm referring to, these are the two lines we installed at the start of today's video, so we gotta pop these off. Well, thankfully removing this line was not as hard as I thought it was gonna be, but let me explain to you guys why this thing is the wrong part. Now this is the brand new coolant line I just bought at the start of today's video. We're gonna line it up with the old damaged one. You remember this one that got pinched? We're gonna set it right on top of each other so you can see exactly what the problem is, okay? We're lined up basically perfectly right there, and now therein lies the problem. Really? Well, I'm definitely not the expert in putting metal back into original form. I'm gonna try heating it up. I realize the heat gun's probably not gonna get the metal nearly hot enough, but I don't really know what else to do. I just wanna bend it back somewhat. I'll get a new pipe eventually. Well, unfortunately, I had no luck repairing this pipe. I tried heating it up, I tried bending it back. Now, we still should have pretty decent flow through it. It's just kind of sort of pinched. We're gonna reinstall this thing for now. Obviously, at 8,000 RPMs, coolant efficiency would be very, very important, but just to get a startup, it's not a big deal. We're gonna install this for now, try to get the new part, and then replace it someday. One day. Well, I suppose as easy as that, we now have the old line back in, dented in place, but you'll note this line is gonna connect with absolute ease. So eventually someday we're gonna swap that out. When that's gonna happen, no clue. When I removed the oil sump, it was very easy because all this substructure was missing from the accident. Now getting this thing into place, I don't know if I continue to repeat, order of operations. I spent so long getting these installed, I should have waited until the oil sump was installed, so we're gonna pop these off. This should just slide right on up, looking good. Money, money, money. After doing all the little things, now we're bringing out the heavy hitters. We got the AC condenser, the oil cooler, and the radiator. Well, the A12 is starting to take shape, looking a little bit more like a car. Every single step now is so rewarding because you're kind of sort of completing it. Coolant line, and now we have the oil lines here and the oil lines here. Pop these off. And now we just gotta connect these. Come on, come on. All right, let's go. Once these two are torqued down, this completes the oil system as well. It is officially a closed system. I feel like every piece from now is a big ticket item. So this piece, it kind of covers the radiator, but then also the ECUs kind of plug in. And this piece, it's kind of like, pretty much like, yay. Somewhere in this mess, all these interior pieces, I'm looking for a couple ECUs. It's also very dusty. I do apologize. All this nonsense has sat here for a very, very long time. It goes without saying, always label everything, because otherwise I would have no idea which one was the driver and which was the passenger. And like that. This wiring harness, once again, is a mess. Well, I just got the wiring harness for the ECUs routed. We're gonna clean that up after the startup. There's no reason to spend a bunch of time in case we gotta sort something out. Also, battery is connected. We're now gonna work on the intake system and the driver side. We're getting closer and closer to the startup. I just installed the intake system on both sides, at least enough for the startup. I'm doing kind of like the bare minimum to get that first startup. So we got spark, we gotta add motor oil, we need fuel as well, we got air. Electronics is obviously the big question mark. I'm praying this car is not too smart. We're gonna install the steering wheel and the instrument cluster, but I'm hoping there's not some other random like wiring harness that if it's not plugged in, the car won't fire up. I need to make sure motor oil, and then we gotta get the steering wheel right here. I realized before I get ahead of myself, I wanna make sure to put motor oil in this thing because the last thing I wanna do is for some reason accidentally hit the start button and the engine is dry. This is a big step right here. We do not want to overfill with oil, but we do not want to underfill it either. Well, 6.5 liters later, we are locked and loaded. Now, based on my calculations, the steering wheel obviously has a start button, but we also need the instrument cluster, which is tucked away way back here. I'm hoping somehow, if this thing is plugged in and the steering wheel is plugged in, that should be all we need. Honestly, I have no idea, but we don't know until we know. This is not the technical way to do this. Also, it's a little hard to film with one hand, but click in. Everything should be plugged in. We should have power. We should be good. We're just gonna tighten the steering wheel. No airbag is necessary right now. And the final step, but certainly not the least step, we gotta connect the battery. And let's make sure this thing is tightened down up. Well, I think the moment has finally come to fruition. We're gonna try to fire up this car. So we got motor oil, We have fuel. We have ignition. We have air. There's no oil leaking underneath the car. Wiring harnesses are all plugged in. So we're going to prime the car for a little bit. And then if she will fire up, we're going to leave her for maybe 10 seconds.
10 seconds
maybe.
max.
At the absolute max. I do not have any coolant in this car right now. I have no brake fluid in the car. It doesn't matter. We're not even on wheels. Let's see. What else? Fire extinguisher. Where's the fire extinguisher? In the Gallardo. Gallardo. Oh, is there one in the kitchen too?
No, I grabbed the one in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to go get that from the Gallardo. I know this doesn't really matter, but just because we can, because it's so easy while Sophie's getting the fire extinguisher, there's a wiring harness here and right there that I want to connect. Well, I guess I'm the fire extinguisher extraordinaire. You're going to fire up the car. No, I am.
No, but I'm starting the car.
You're starting the car.
What if it blows up?
Think I'm going to be next to the motor. It's not going to blow up. Wow, there's a lot of trust in my mechanical skill level right now. When this thing fires up, also by the way, it is straight pipe exhaust. The exhaust is not even connected, so it is center dump all the way down. So if she does fire up, she's gonna be loud. Let everything prime, fuel pumps, etc., etc., and let's see what happens. Hopefully we got power. Nothing? Oh!
The lights flickered for a second.
Okay.
Really quick set. What do you want? Key fob not detected.
Oh, yeah. Of course. You gotta have a key to start up a car. Let's see. Well, we're not getting any kind of... I was hoping the lights would illuminate here on the back end, but maybe nothing is plugged in.
Dead?
Could be. We might have to jump it. Maybe. Possibly. Probably. But we got some power. Let's see. Ooh! I don't know if this is exciting or terrifying right now. Do you hear anything priming? I hear some stuff priming right now.
We got some...
Check engine light nation. How much fuel do we have?
Electric something.
Electric fault? Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Airbag. That's fine.
Yeah, I would imagine we're going to have like 75 electrical faults.
Yeah, reads at half a tank.
So we got plenty of fuel. We got plenty of fuel.
Gearbox not in park position.
Oh, that's right. So the car is obviously in neutral right now because we've been pushing it back and forth. I manually put it into neutral. I don't think that would matter. I say we try to crank it. If it doesn't fire up, maybe try that. Are you ready?
These warnings are crazy.
Well, yeah, half the car is unplugged right now, Soph. Okay, we got nothing up here.
Ready?
We have no coolant. We got no brake fluid either. All right, anytime, Soph. Let's hear it.
If it blows up.
Run.
Bye.
No, don't say that.
Okay, ready?
Come on, 812 Superfast. Nothing? Is your foot on the brake? We're getting nothing at all?
Press brake.
We have no brake fluid, so I'm concerned that there's going to be no pressure in the pedal.
It said depress it.
Okay.
Depress brake.
Are you pushing it hard?
Now I am.
Okay, let's hear it again. I love how the radio's playing right now too, though. 812 Superfast, 6.5 liter V12, 800 horsepower.
I think the gearbox has to be in park.
Okay, we're gonna put the gearbox in park. So right here in the back, there is this item right here. So basically we gotta twist that about 90 degrees and that should put it in park. Where that tool is, I have not the slightest idea. Maybe it's back here. I couldn't find the tool, so we had to do a little makeshift. We just rotated that 90 degrees. Nothing.
Depress brake pedal.
I wonder if because there's no brake fluid.
I think it might be.
Is that going to be the issue?
Electrical system failure.
Well, I definitely don't think this is going to work, but we're going to try to trick the system. We are going to connect the e-brake, see if we can pull the e-brake, and then maybe the car will fire up, maybe? I doubt this is going to work, but I am tightening the e-brake. I had to loosen it when we wanted to move the car into neutral. Pull the brake. Hear anything? Pushing on the brake. Obviously we got, come on. We obviously have check engine light nation right now. I cannot accept that warning. I got the button right here plugged in, but for some reason it's not working. Engine start stop. Come on, 812. We don't have time to bleed the brakes right now. Well, we just added a little bit of brake fluid. We're hoping that'll give us the brake pressure feel we need. What? No way! Sophie, we got it! Yo! That's all we needed! A tiny little bit of brake fluid. I literally can, look at that. I actually have goosebumps. We got it!
I did not think it was going to turn on.
That fired right up like that! It sounded proper too! Let's go, Soph! There you have it! The 812 Superfast is back from the dead. Oh, hallelujah. It is a long journey to the finish line, but we made it. Well, just because it fired up so easily, we're gonna fire it up again. But remember, there's no coolant, so we're not gonna let the car run very long, but I just wanna check a couple of things.
How many seconds do you want?
10 seconds, count to 10. I just wanna hear that V12 sing. Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. Ignition. Now we're running into a little bit of an issue where it cannot detect the key. Usually there's like a sensor right here, but obviously that's probably, oh, we got it? Okay, let's hear this thing sing. It's so loud. Maybe we gotta keep this thing straight piped all the time. That has been a long journey. The 812 is back from the dead. And on that bombshell, today's video is over.